The new recruiting calendar
Mm-hmm.
is now officially posted after, they've kind of modified things. And it is, when you lay it all down and kind of analyze what the new recruiting calendar is going to look like for college football moving forward, there are definitely some of the more drastic changes that have happened. Number one, we know this already. The signing day in December is now December 4th.
Okay.
In the years past, it would have been December 18th.
Okay.
And the coaches will no longer go on the road in December.
Okay.
So
good.
From December 2nd all the way until January 5th, coaches are locked in. They can't leave. Now, there is a 2-week window from December 9th through December 22nd after signing day that you can host visitors, whether it's juniors or, transfer portal targets or official visitors of your kids that may not have taken officials, but they would have already signed.
Not going out on the road, not allowing coaches to go on the road. Is that because there's just so much in December? They're getting teams that make a bowl game for the playoff have to get ready.
Yeah. And you saw that, was it Maryland played Auburn in a bowl game?
Mm-hmm. And Hugh Freeze
just basically said, I didn't even prepare for this game. I couldn't have.
Well, and listen, I understand where he's coming from. We've seen it. I've seen it firsthand at Nebraska in prior regimes, basically. But I mean, it just gets to be too much in the month of December. Well, you remember you covered it where you'd go to a practice in December, a bowl practice, back when Nebraska used to play in bowl games, and they like half the coaching staff wouldn't be there because they're out on the road, right?
And there'd be 2 or 3 that would be kept in, and then a bunch of GAs.
Yeah.
So now, August is a dead period month. This year in July, there's 7 days that you'll be allowed to have visitors come on campus. Next year, that's gone. So they're eliminating that, and I'll get to that in a second. But the biggest thing is from September 1 to December 1.
Yeah.
That is going to be an evaluation period. And you can host prospects on campus for visitors. But the biggest thing is you get 33 days to have your coaches out on the road. And that is huge because the coaches will not be on the road anymore in December. So how you manage those 30, and it's not 33 days for if you have 10 coaches go out for one day, that's 10 days.
It's 10 days, yeah.
So you have to manage those 33 days on those 2 bye weeks, particularly. Where do you put Matt Rule?
He has to really pick his spots, right?
And so Matt Rule on those 2 bye weeks, particularly, you'd imagine they're going to have Matt Rule out 6 to 8 days on those bye weeks.
Interesting.
Maybe that's a lot. 2 to 3 days of bye week, though, is probably what it's going to look like. But you're also going to have coaches going out during the regular season more.
And you would agree that might be this new fangled staff that you see, where you see
Jamar Mosey.
Yeah, where we don't see what I'll call the main assistant coaches go out, like the core 10 that originally were hired. You might see some of these new guys, or a lot of these new guys.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising if Marcus Satterfield wasn't out on the road,
right?
And
Tony Donovan
it just depends on. Well, Donovan would go to Hawaii and places like that still.
Really during the season?
Not during the season.
Okay, I'm talking about September to December, that period.
Yeah, who are you going to earmark though as your 10 recruiters?
Yeah,
and there are ways you can be flexible with that, but you have to have somebody leave your staff, or be fired, or have a medical thing. I mean, you always over the years we've seen a coach have to have a bad back or a bad knee, and they get taken off the road.
Yeah, that part of the recruiting calendar is the most interesting to me.
The 33 days.
Yeah, because it's September 1 through December 1, because it's during the season. You got to make your decisions have to be on point, right?
Then in January, starting January 6th, that's when the heavy movement's going to happen. There's a short break for the convention from the 12th to the 15th, but January 6th to February 1st, those will be in-home visits, and you'll be able to meet with juniors at schools, talk to them.
Big. Yeah, that's big.
January's absolutely humongous because then February's dead. Then, as we've seen now, Sip, over the last few years, March and April just become jam-packed with visitors. Like you're running full recruiting events every week, having visitors on campus all the time.
That's why people should sign up for Husker Online, because so much of the action occurs after the season. I mean, we gear up, we love the season, but for our purposes, a lot of the hard work occurs right after the season ends.
And it makes it easier for a guy like me to be involved in both now, because when all the recruiting happened in the season, I'm covering it. It's hard to do both well.
Yeah.
But when all the recruiting now happens after the season, it's a little bit different. So March and April will be big recruiting visitor months. Then April 15th through May 24th, you get those 140 days on the road, and you have 10 coaches. So each coach can get 14 days out on the road over that period of 6 weeks. Then May 29th through June 22nd will be camps. But then this is new, from June 23rd all the way till July 31st, completely dead.
Yeah. So they took away that late period where you can have like a barbecue, right?
So put this in perspective,
right?
Yeah, a barbecue weekend or a recruiting deal. But June 23rd all the way until September 1st will be dead.
Ooh,
because August is generally a dead period.
That protects coaches a little bit. I think it gives them a little more time away, right?
Yeah, the coaches will not have to travel anywhere near the level we've seen before. I mean, the spring, though, in January is when the traveling is happening.
Spring and January.
They're not going to have
December, but September, December a little bit, right? During the season.
Well, those 33 days are nothing, though.
Okay.
I mean, January you have unlimited.
Okay. That's the distinction.
Yeah, January, you're 10 coaches out as much as you can at that point. So
33 is a limited number.
Yeah, it's a really when you look at it, I mean, it's a totally different calendar, because June 22nd now all the way until September 1, a coach can't leave campus. Then you get those 33 days that they can parcel them out, but you're just not going to have to leave campus after June camps are over for a long time.
I think would you say the new age calendar, this recent calendar, has helped the website because of what we said? It gives you so much news in the off season.
Yeah, I would say the transfer portal,
the
camps, the recruiting calendar, the visitors, it has kind of given you news when there wasn't news.
Yeah, it used to be a time when it was really hard to come up with anything, and now it's just there's a lot.
And our schedule kind of mirrors what they're doing. I mean, but it is. I think this calendar is a win for the coaches. I really do.
Good.
I think the coaches they won't have to be out near as much. That December period is getting rid of that. I think is going to be wildly popular, and getting rid of that last 7 days in July too.
Yeah, and I don't know. Well, I do know because I talk to coaches. It was getting a little unwieldy, and you'd hear so many coaches say, I'd probably rather be in the NFL. I mean, it's just so taxing. You'll never, very rarely at least, hear a coach say anything like that on the record. But man, I mean, these guys that we deal with, they're taxed. I mean, there's a lot.
Imagine being in the NFL. You don't even have to look at Twitter.
No, they don't. I mean, I've talked to enough NFL coaches that, God, when they get a break, they get a break too. It's a break. Like they get 6 weeks of
and they
nothing.
Shut it down.
Like I had one, I've said this before, but I had one assistant tell me that you could go to the moon and nobody would care. I mean, yeah, just do what you want and you're out.
And there's no recruiting duties.
Right. Well, a lot of coaches in the NFL don't even make personnel decisions. They're made for them. Now, that's not true across the board. Like the Bengals their coaches are involved in personnel decisions, but a lot of places, Sean, the offensive coordinator just gets handed his players, make it work.